Policeman Jerry Hill, has been at police headquarters and has been in the room some of the time, the room in which Oswald has been questioned.
The shots were fired from. The spent cartridges were found on the 6th floor on the southeast window, and we came back downstairs at this time after securing the scene to leave all the evidence for the crime lab. When we got back downstairs and were talking to one of the officers on the street about what we had found upstairs, we received notice by a citizen who was using a police radio that an officer had been shot in the Oak Cliff section of the city.
That was Mr. Tippett.
That was Tippett. At this time, Sergeant Owens and I were instructed by the inspector in charge at the scene to report to Oak Cliff and begin the investigation out there. On our arrival, we obtained a description of a suspect, and we began tracing his steps through the aid of civilian witnesses. When we first received a location on him, they said he was in one of 2 vacant buildings that were being used for furniture storage in the 400 block of East Jefferson. We reported to this location and called for some assistance to secure the buildings, and at that time we went into the buildings, checked them out to determine that the suspect wasn't there. While we were still at this location, we received word that he was in the library at Marsalis and Jefferson. We reported to that scene, and then we found out this was also a bogus call. But then the 3rd call, which proved to be the charm, came out that the suspect had entered the Texas Theater some 5 blocks away. When we arrived at this location, we secured the building from the outside, and then Ray Hawkins and N.M. McDonald, C.T. Walker, Bob Carroll, Paul Bentley, K.E. Lyons, myself, and other officers went into the building, and we began a systematic check of all the suspects, or all the people who were in the theater. As Officer McDonald approached a suspect sitting on the 3rd row from the back of the theater, the suspect jumped up, yelled, "This is it," and took a swing at the officer. Officer McDonald started to grapple with the man as he reached for a gun which was concealed under his shirt, and the gun was fired one time by the suspect, but luckily it misfired. The pin hit the shell, but it did not fire. McDonald yelled for help, and the other officers in the theater and I managed to subdue the man, disarm him, and handcuff him. At that time, we brought him out of the building, put him in a squad car, and brought him straight to homicide and robbery and turned him over to Captain Fritz.
Who were those officers, Jerry?
Officer Hawkins, McDonald, C.T. Walker, Bob Carroll, K.E. Lyons, Paul Bentley, and myself were the ones that were actually in, along with Bob Barrett from the FBI, who was in on the arrest with us also.
And now, very quickly, back to Dallas Police Headquarters for a videotaped live camera scene of Lee Oswald as he was brought into another room for questioning.
Here is the suspect. Will you roll it, please? The suspect is coming.
Back against the wall. All right, these people have given me a hearing without legal representation or anything.
Did you shoot the president?
I didn't shoot anybody, no, sir.
You just heard Oswald, who said he did not shoot anybody. I'm being pummeled here. Being pummeled very heavily. You just heard Oswald say, "I did not shoot anybody."
Lee Oswald has been charged with the killing of a Dallas policeman. He has not been charged in connection with the death of President Kennedy.